Okay, so welcome to the session with using a workflow that contains some of the generative AI tools to do our literature review efficiently, faster, and more reliably. Um, I want to start with a very quick question. Why do we do literature review? Yes, because we want to know what has already been done. And why do we want to know that? Yes, or maybe use what is already available. Yes, or maybe make it better, or maybe compare. So, so there are multiple reasons why we do literature reviews. Um, the important thing is to know why we are doing literature review for a certain case, right? So every time, whenever we will open up any website to start doing literature review, our goal and aim should be super clear. So I am trying to find articles because I want to know which material they used. I want to know how they processed it. I want to know what were its properties. I want to know um, how did it fail. I want to know what characterizations they used, or whatever, or whatever, or whatever. So whenever we open something, we should be very clear about why we are doing this literature review. If we are not clear about this, the next steps become very difficult because generally, now I will change my question. So generally, how do we do literature review? From where do you generally start? So I have a very nice screen in front of me, the whole internet. I have an idea. I want to do literature review to find out which of the crystal plasticity models are available out there and which are the ones that I can just quickly directly use for myself. Let's say, what do I do here then? Hmm. Hmm. So, so we will quickly do that. So we will quickly go to scholar.google.com, right? And here we will start searching for our keywords and so on. Okay. What I have here is 26,600 results. Not a very good start. No- Yes, so 26,600 results, right? Not a very good start. I cannot read all of them. I cannot sort all of them. So what will I do next is maybe I will apply some filter. So I will say metals should be a must here. Simulations should be a must here. Model should be a must here. Um, um, and then my results are a little bit less, 19,300, still too many. Maybe then what I will try to do is I will try to limit it to a certain material. I will try to limit it to certain um, type of models or comparisons. So I will say um, physics based and so on. And then, for example, now I see 1260 results. So I am already narrowing down. From here, what I will do is I will try to look at the list, see what do I need, what I do not need, and from there, what I will try to do is maybe reach results that are less than 1000. And from there onwards, it is just brute force. I will go in with looking at the titles, looking at their abstracts, trying to find out the appropriate literature, and figuring out which are the right documents for me. Then I will see if they're open source. Now our university has access to most of the resources and libraries. So I will be able to access some documents, I will download them. Then everyone likes to do something on their own. So some people like to read them digitally, some people like to read them in paper, so they will print it and they will just sit there, read it, highlight it with different colors of knowing, oh, this is the technique they use, this is the material they worked on, and so on and so forth, right? So that is generally how we go about it, doing literature review. And from there, when we will be reading articles, we will see different concepts or ideas being talked about and being discussed. And from there, we will see um, maybe what other people have done, what are the outcomes, and so on and so forth. Um, do you have any alternate workflow around this that I do not know of? Hmm? Hmm? Yeah? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. The standards. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Um, I see. So basically, Google Scholar does not cover all the bases and all the resources. So sometimes you have to go other than Google Scholar to find something. But again, the idea is go in with all brute force. Um, Collect as much data as you can, read as much data as you can. From there, synthesize your findings, your outcomes related to whatever query you wanted to run. Right. So, for example, today I'm looking for crystal plasticity models, which are available out there, which people have been using, and maybe 3 months later, I will be looking at, oh, what kind of post processing they did, and what kind of results they got, and how did those results compare with their experiments and their results, right? So then I will have to go again from all these documents now from a different perspective, and maybe after 1 year I will be looking at, oh, um, how did they identify the parameters for these models, right? And now I'll be looking at the same set of articles and maybe add a few, but again now from a different perspective, right? So this kind of mentality and this kind of approach is called collector mindset. What we try to do is we try to go out there, look at a lot of results. For example, in this case, 100 2060 results. We will try to go through them all, try to download as many as possible, humanly possible within our limited time. We'll try to go through them slowly or quickly. We'll try to summarize them, synthesize some outcomes from them, and then maybe write our document. And in the future, we will have to go through all these same documents with another perspective to know more details, to know more details. And that is basically how we are used to do literature review, right? So this is called collector mindset. Now, because of the new advancements in tools, because of several agentic workflows that have been incorporated in several tools, we can have a better approach to this. And that is something that we will talk about today. And we will call that a detective mindset, right? So maybe you have heard about detectives, maybe you know their work and how do they do things. Um, what will, in your opinion or in your thoughts, a detective mindset be? So what attributes will this mindset have from what you know what detectives do? Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Um, so when I talk about detective mindset, the words that come to my mind are very sharp and focus oriented, narrow, uh, um, not being distracted by the fluff around, right? So strategically accurate, precise, getting directly to the point, getting the right cues, doing the things that are important and necessary, and not wasting time here or there, right? So these are the words that come to my mind. The thing is that we cannot do that very nicely with Google Scholar, and therefore I will share other tools with you. Um, so the detective mindset will work like we will first define. So these are the outline steps of the detective mindset. What we will do is we will define exactly what we want to get from the from our query. So what do we want to find out today, right? Then we have a possibility of different tools. We will use the best tool to do that job, find out the most relevant literature and articles related to that, quickly summarize and synthesize the outcomes related to what I wanted to search for, then maybe broaden my search a little to know if I am not missing something, right? To make sure that that I am in the right zone. I have the right information, and then after that, maybe using all this previous information to synthesize and write my outcomes, and then going to the next step, right? So this is what I call collective mindset, and this is what we will go through. So the first set of tools is basically running the first query. So you saw here when we want to see crystal plasticity models, simulations, metals, steel, and physics based, what do we get, right? So now we will try to use the same example but on different tools to see what outcomes do we get, right? So the first tool that I want to share with you is OpenLX. Do you know about this? OpenLX is Google Scholar, but a more advanced version of that. It is very similar. If you are familiar with Google Scholar, you will be familiar with OpenLX. So let me do the same query here. So I will start with crystal plasticity, right? So if I do this, it will it will show me a little bit more information. So what you will see is it will show me some works, right? Some research papers here. What it will also show me is the the overall work, or how often did this keyword appear in the past, right? So what you will see is there is an upward trends. There is an upward trend with crystal plasticity here. So it is a growing and emerging field. What you will see also is that 40% of the work in this area is open access, rest is not. So you can choose. Then it will also show me the institutions that are most active with this kind of keyword. It will also show me the topics that I can search further, right? So for example, I do not have to define my query myself. What I can, for example, do is I will click on this, and now I see, for example, the results related to microstructure and mechanical properties. What you will see on the top is title and abstract has crystal plasticity, and topic is microstructure and mechanical properties. And what I can do is I can continue to add on other topics, right? So you will see here um, microstructure. so on, right? And what I will see is I will see, for example, different articles, and then, for example, I can click on them, and I will get all the related information. Similar to that, for example, I can go deeper. I can look at where this article is. I can find other areas and fields and so on. So one way of doing this is, for example, using this approach. And what I would usually do is I will just use these kind of tools to narrow down my query, to find out specifically which article I am interested in, and then I will see if it is open access. I will download that article as a PDF document. Okay. So that is generally how I will do that. Um, what you will also see here down here is, for example, the types. So articles, book chapters, dissertations, or others, and so on. You can also select them to, for example, see what kind of things you want to see. Um, so this is basically like Google Scholar. You still have to play with the ideas and so on. And then what I want to do is I want to go to the next three possible tools that are more vibe oriented. So you do not have to be very specific with the keywords and the titles. What you can do is you can just generally write your query, and you will start seeing results. How many of you already know about Perplexity? Good. So Perplexity is basically ChatGPT connected with Google, right? And recently they have updated and upgraded quite a lot. And what you can do here is, for example, you can do your deep research, 3 queries per day for free. And for example, you can also choose what kind of documents you want to run your query on, right? So instead of, for example, web, I can say I only want to search academic sources, and then I say what are the recent advancements in crystal plasticity models for modeling the multi-phase metallic materials. How are these models calibrated and validated? Um, Suggest 3 open access crystal plasticity tools that I can start from for modeling the microstructurally informed material behavior. Okay, so what I'm doing now is, instead of writing my keywords and queries and trying to find this out myself, what I am doing is I am writing whatever is coming to my mind and whatever I want to actually search. Again, here, the first thing, what was my focus, what are my important points, come in consideration. So I should know this before starting here. I can click on this deep research thing, and then it will try to find answer to these questions through much more documents, and it will try to synthesize this answer in a relatively more structured way. If I do not click on this, it will just be a very quick query. We can try this, right? So if I do this, it is still a process, so it was automatic. It is still taking time. So it will take its time. What you will see is it will show you its chain of thoughts. So what it is doing and what it is searching. It will keep on accumulating this knowledge, and in the end, it will write us this report. You will see the number of sources continuing to increase. And what I will do is I will go to the next while this is working. and it is trying to synthesize the results. What I will do is I will go to the next tool, which is elicit. Um, and then we will compare the results side by side. Have you heard about elicit before? Elicit again. Elicit was the pioneer in this chain of thought process, which helps with identifying the right things. What I will do is I will just write here the same question. It will see, for example, it will say here, I am evaluating your question strength, and then it will say, yeah, good research question. Consider adding these elements for better results. Um, Specificity of advancement, validation methodology, open source tools. I don't want to include this. I just want to run this search, right? So it will say what kind of this you want to do. I will say screen top 50 papers, extract up to 10 papers, generate a report. And then again it will start doing its work. Basically it searches through different databases, it looks at their titles, abstracts, keywords, and if available, if open source text is available, it will also look into the open source text, and then it will try to synthesize everything and put in the document. And then, for example, it will tell you when the report is ready. It will give you this information, and in the meantime I want to jump to another tool, right? um, I, SciSpace is a very nice tool. I love SciSpace. If you do not know about this tool, it is a must try thing. When I started using it, it was completely free. You could read any PDF, you could label any document, you could use its help to understand it. So SciSpace actually started as a research paper reader connected with ChatGPT. So what it did was you could upload a document, and then you had your co-pilot on the side. You could select any text. You could ask questions related to this PDF document, and it will try to answer you based on that. It did not hallucinate a lot, and the best thing about this was, for example, if I go in my library, I think I can. No. If I go in my library and if I open, for example, any document, right? So basically, you will create your own library. You can upload as many documents as you want. Then, for example, if I open this document, which is mechanical properties of nanostructured magnetic steels, and then, for example, I am looking at all this information and data, right? And let's say I do not understand something. So for example, it becomes easy to activate slip planes or preferred slip planes such as 111. I will select this and I will say explain this text to me, right? So it becomes easy to activate slip on preferred slip planes such as 111, and then it will go around and it will try to read the whole document, and within this context it will try to explain slip and material, which means when we refer to a preferred slip plane, we break this down into smaller parts to make it easy to understand. So what is slip? What is slip plane? What does preferred slip plane mean? And so what it is trying to do is I selected a line, it is trying to explain that line to me. So basically I was using this to read certain documents. Now they have reduced this idea of using the free version a lot. So I can only run a few queries per day, and then I have to go to the paid version. Another very interesting thing that I liked about this was, for example, if I go to a paper like this, right? So what you will see here is that it is so the paper that will open now is a very long, extensive paper about Damas crystal plasticity model that I was going through. I did not understand a lot of equations and models and what was available here, and And what I wanted to do was I wanted to understand the more complex things that were reported here. It is still taking time to load. Um, let's see. We want to go here, maybe somewhere here. It will take its time. I just want to show you this one feature, but now, for example, what they have created is they have created this whole environment where you can create your library, you can run queries, you can save articles, then you can upload PDFs, you can read them, you can create your notes, and later you can use your notes to write your document, and then, for example, improve your writing, find out text, whatever. Now, so now they have created this tool in that aspect. For example, we are somewhere here, and I don't know what this equation is, right? Or I want to understand what this equation is. What I will do is I will just click on this button and I will say this, right? And because I clicked on explain math, and I selected this. So this equation will come here. So I selected this equation. Now it will go back and try to synthesize the answer, and then we will see it in a few minutes. What, for example, as a co-pilot, what I can also do is, for example, it is already saying here, generate summary of the paper results or paper. If I click on this, you will see results of the paper, conclusions, find related papers, methods used in this paper, what data has been used in this paper, and so on, right? So the explanation of the equation is ready. This equation presents in a mathematical expression used in the field of material science, particularly in context of modeling how materials behave under different conditions. Let's break it down. And then it will go on step by step to explain what this variable here means, what what all the other variables mean, and then it will try to combine them into, for example, what this equation overall means. The good thing is I can basically ask a follow-up question to that, right? So what will happen if I've changed the value of this parameter in this equation? How will it affect the other parameter, or so on or so forth? Or how do I identify this parameter and so on? So it will look in the context of this article and try to tell me, oh, this is a fitting parameter, so you have to identify its value yourself. Or it will say, oh, the equation number whatever gives you information of how to identify this parameter and so on. So I can basically chat with this document and try to learn and understand what it is doing, right? So sometimes when we are going deep into a topic that or we are going deep into a query which is not very familiar to us, right? We are going there with a detective mindset, but when we do not have information about everything, sometimes what we actually do is we actually need a little bit help with explaining some concepts, explaining some equations, some graphs or figures, or trying to understand what this variable is, in what context it is written about. Or maybe, for example, you already know an equation but you want to know, oh, but in this article, how did they try to find the value of this parameter, or how did they compare these two variables, and so on? So the idea is, what you will do is you can use this kind of tool to, for example, read more about it and create your notes, and so on. I will close all this. What I will do is I will go on the home, and for example here I will paste the same question, right? And here you have a different levels of standard, high quality, deep review. I will just run deep review because I can. It will again think about it, say um, the enhanced query is, for example, this one, and then I will say submit now, and then it will go back and do its thing. While it is doing this, let's see what results we have got. So we ran this query, and what you will see here is that recent advancements so now what you will see is that it this tool did what we would do after collecting a lot of research papers, synthesizing their outcomes, and reading them out, highlighting them, and then synthesizing their outcomes. It already did this for us. So what we will do is we will see different research papers, what it has figured out in a specific context, right? So let's try to go through it, and then it will say focus on integrating multiphysics approaches for microstructural evolution. These models now combine continuum thermodynamics, phase field, and crystal plasticity to account for interactions between all these fields. For example, physics-based frameworks now explicitly simulate deformation and recrystallization processes by coupling microstructural evolution with plastic strain localization. And this work has been done. For example, here, if I click on this, I can come here and I should be able to click on this to then open the document. Really? Where am I going? So, okay. So this is a dissertation. That is why. No? So it automatically, because it was available in the as an open access document, it was able to see what this document was about, and it was about to it would synthesize its outcomes there for us, right? So then you will see calibration and validation involve experimental data collection, and then multi-scale simulations comparing predictions against mesoscales and iterative adjustments of slip system parameters and so on, right? And then, for example, it will go on, it will say, while the providing research doesn't explicitly name open access crystal plasticity tools, the papers highlight the growing role of open source framework and computational material science. To research can explore community different platforms like, for example, Damask, Moose, Prisms, Plasticity, and so on. And these tools align with the trends towards open access multiphysics workflows described in the literature, right? So what you will see is that I ran this query and I was able to get much better synthesized, neat, concentrated source. And what I will do is I will try to go at least now through all these resources because there are not so many. It tried to look at 23 sources and it only gave me a synthesized result from 7 or 8 sources here. So what I will try to do is I will try to go through all of them. Whatever I find most interesting and useful, I will download that as a PDF because I will want to use that later, right? Similarly, for example, I can look at other outcomes. For example, from illicit, you will again see that the again it will synthesize the results very nicely. It will say so calibration and validation are based on direct comparison with experimental benchmarks. Several papers verify simulations and so on. And then, for example, it will again list different tools. For example, Damask, a virtual laboratory developed by Ma et al, and then virtual laboratory on EPCL model presented by this author. And I can go into those details. I can look at these tools, and if I like this document, I will again download this and save it in my library because I want to use it later. Seems good so far, right? So you're not lost. The idea is, instead of writing a general Google query, I will want to run a deeper review query on any of these tools. So Perplexity, Elicit, or SciSpace, and from here I can get much narrower viewpoint on what actually it is. All the results actually depend on what my query was about. So how well my prompt was structured, what did I write there, what was I expecting here, did I clearly explain everything that I needed. And then from here I will again collect some documents and literature and so on, and that is what I want to use. What I want to do next is, because here I am collecting some documents and maybe I am missing connection between them or the timeline and what work was done in the past and what followed and so on. So I will want to broaden it a little and make a nice structured map. For that, for example, I use litmaps. Oh, I will have to log in. I am already logged in. Okay. Um, for that, for example, I want to use litmaps. Litmaps is a very nice tool that helps you look at the research field um, with a different kind of visualization, right? So for this, what I will need is I will need um, a seed paper. What we can do is um, we can try to create um, practice trial. So it's a delete one of your previous ones. Okay, so it is creating a practice one now. So what I will do is again, now they also have an AI tool, but what I did in the past was, for example, I know an article. Let's say let's say this one. This is preprint, but let's use this. So I will want to, for example, I have already identified some articles. What I will try to do is I will try to search an article. Yeah, it is, and then I will say add to lit maps, practice trial, um, and then I will close this. So it has already added this document to this. What I will try to do is I want to use this to then populate this list. Uh, explore related articles. So it will say there were no results. Try adding more articles and so on. What I will do is I will just quickly try to, for example, no, this article. Um, I want to find out this. I want to find out this. Um, and what I will do is find or add search. I can add the lit maps to this lit map, right? So now I have added one article here, one article here, and I will say explore edited articles. Um, what it will try to do is, right? So I added this article and this article here in this map, and what it will try to do is it will try to show me the related documents. So what you will see is there is this article from Shantraj. I can click on this, and then, for example, I can add it to lit maps. Now I have added this. I can look at this work, and I can add it to lit maps. Then, for example, I like this article more. I can add this to maps. And the idea of when I say I like this article more is I will look at its title. I will see from which authors it is originating from, and then, for example, there should also be a way to read its. If I click on this, yeah, so if I click on this, I will directly go to the article link. I will be able to I will be able to see what this article is about, what the abstract is, what the keywords are, and then, for example, here I can decide, oh, this seems to be a nice article. I would like to add um, this to my list as well. And then I say add to lit maps, practice trial, and so on. So now what you will see is I have added four of the articles, and then it will say, oh, maybe new results are available because you've already populated your list. Maybe you will want to add more articles to this. So then, for example, what it will do, it is will run its query and see based on the articles that you have already added, or you will also maybe want to see these documents, right? And then, for example, I can see, oh, this is a very fundamental article that was published by MPIE, and I will want to add this to my library. And for example, oh, then this article is connecting very nicely with everyone. This article is connecting nicely with this article, and then I will want to add this, and it goes on. Now, all these lines are basically connections of this work with the previous work and connections of this work with the more recent work. The idea here also is that, for example, if I continue to do this, what you will see is that on the x-axis we have more recent publications. So the more here, the more recent, and on this we have an axis of more citations, right? So automatically, if an article was published in the past, it will have more citations. If the article is published very recently, it will have less citations, right? But then what you will see is that there should be this straight line here. But then you will see some articles that are above this line, and you will see some articles that are below this line, right? Some articles above this line means, oh, this was published, for example, very recently, if an article is here, but it has a lot of citations. Or this article, for example, was published in the past, but it has relatively less citations. This could mean different things. This could mean, oh, this is a breakthrough article, many people are citing this, so maybe you want to include it in your library. Or maybe this is the work that followed all this work but has less citations, so maybe they worked on a very narrow thing, they had a breakthrough, but not a lot of people have worked on this. So maybe this is a research gap. Maybe you will want to pick this up and work on this, right? So depending on what are your requirements or ideas, maybe you will want to see this. I will also want to add this, and then I want to show you this very interesting feature. There should be this idea of no. There is another way of um, um, no. There is this idea of looking at them from a different perspective. I cannot find that option because they keep updating the tools very quickly, and it is hard to keep track of these options. Okay. Uh-huh. There is this way of, for example, finding out related articles, and then, for example, it searches for, oh, these are the documents that you have selected, and these are the documents that are, for example, similar to this. Maybe you will want to add it. There is another way of viewing it. Um, recommendation placement ring. Yeah, so something like this, right? Um, and then you will also see this by authors and ring. So what you will see is, oh, these are the articles that you have selected, and these are the articles, for example, they are clustered, so these are similar, and then this article is also related, and this is also similar. Now it is saying me upgrade to unlock what you want to see, and so on. But the idea is that you can use these kind of tools to for example, have a holistic view on the field you want are searching on. This is especially very interesting and important when you are, for example, starting a new research topic or new area that you are exploring. It helps quite well with, for example, if I have a very nice article or a seed article that I am already familiar with or I have read, I can very quickly populate my library based on what are the other possibilities available around it, and what should I read after this, and so on. um, this is a for you will already see this. So this is a paid tool, but there are several other tools that are relatively free. For example, Research Rabbit. For example, Connected Papers. So these articles, so these tools are are free. They are not this much user friendly or this much intuitive or easy to control, but they do the same thing. So you add a seed paper. From there, they try to search in the database and see which article did they cite, which article cited them, and were are the keywords similar, are the concepts similar, and then based on that they try to populate and say, oh, if you like this article or these are your two or three seed articles, maybe this is something that you will want to look for. You can sort them, you can rearrange them in different ways, and from there basically you will know about the main concepts or the areas of the field. um, Another thing that I really like about this is, for example, if I have all these articles, I can click here. I can say I want to export this, and then I want to export them as CSV, let's say, right? And then I say I will click on download. If I look at the CSV file, what you will see is this is what I was doing in the past. I will want to open it with Notepad. What you will see is I have I have all this information exported for my library. And for example, if I have a library of 50 or 100 articles, and this option is available in almost all the tools. So if I have this library of 50 or 100 articles, what I can do is I can use this library to then load it into a generative AI tool and then just chat with it, right? So to say, oh, which article is working on this, which article is working on that, which has given information about the materials, the methods, the tools, and then I will be able to, for example, navigate through them, synthesize my results, and so on, based on the title and the abstract. So this is also um, a nice idea if you have a library online. If you know all these papers are connected, they are talking about the similar thing, you can use this, for example, for many different reasons. Okay, so so far so good. Now, um, once you have a holistic picture of your area, and again I was mentioning again and again, so the documents that you find interesting, you can download them. You can download the PDFs in your computer because we will later want to use them for our use case. A very nice concept here is Notebook LM. So what I want to ask you is, why can't we use ChatGPT for a general literature review? Why is that not here in the list? I'll start with the first thing. It is not connected with internet. So now it is. Now the web search is available, but for example, you can still not control where it will go and search for its sources. So it will, when it is connected to web, it means it will go anywhere. If we just want to search, for example, books or research papers, we cannot force it to go and look there, right? And it is not optimized to do this kind of job. So this is the first limitation, and it can make stuff up. So the developers use a very nice word for that. They call it can hallucinate, right? So it does not have this idea of what is right or what is wrong. The core aim of this is just to create easy to readable, accessible, understandable words for humans to read, and it will just do this job, right? Regardless of what information is being fed and what is there. Also, even if you upload PDFs, even if you do anything like that, it again still hallucinates, right? No matter how hard you try. You will ask it to program something, you will ask it to tell you something, it will tell you something, and then it will be hard to make sure that it was taken from the sources, and so on and so forth. Notebook LM, and another limitation of chat, apart from several many limitations, another limitation of ChatGPT is that they have a paywall, right? So if you do not want to use it extensively, you just want to run some query on some documents and want to understand something from them, read them intuitively, you cannot use that. Notebook LM is by Google, right? So if you have a Google account, you should be easily able to log in. So for example, here I'm using my Google account, and then you can create your own notebook, right? Um, what I will So you can create your own notebook, and then what you will do is I will show you something here. So I have already created this notebook, and that is what I'm showing you. So what I did here was I tried to upload all these. So this is what I was actually doing. I went through my queries, I selected some documents, and then I uploaded them here, right? And then when you will upload them here, what you will see is it will take some time to upload them, because what it tries to do is it tries to read through all these documents, and it tries to train a temporary model on this data set, right? And once you have created your library, only then you can start prompting. If there is nothing in your library, whatever you will write, it will not give you any answer. So this tool basically is to chat with your documents, and it is not just for research papers, it is basically for any kinds of documents. You can have your Excel sheets, and you can have your PDFs, and you can have your Word documents and text files, and you can upload whatever you want. There is a limitation on the size of the files that you can upload. There is a limitation on number of files you can upload, that is 50. And once you have uploaded your files, then basically what you can do is you can chat with them, right? So for example, here I have uploaded these documents, and it is already giving me a suggestion. How do temperature dependent crystal plasticity models utilize dislocation density to predict polycrystalline mechanical behavior across varying conditions, right? It is already proposing me something, and then when I will run this query, it will try to synthesize an answer only from these documents, right? The important thing is only from these documents. Another interesting aspect is that everything is traceable. If I click on one, that where is this taken from, what it will do is it will go to the source, and it will highlight the text where it took this from, right? If I, for example, click on so dynamic recovery mechanisms such as dislocation, annihilation, rearrangement, and becoming more significant. And so if I click on 5, it will go to this source and highlight where it has taken this from. I can click on 6, and it will highlight where it has taken this from, right? So you can cross verify and check what what it is doing, and why it picked up a certain topic. If I click on 12, it will go back and show me where it took this information from, right? 6, yeah. So again, 22, and so on, right? And for example, another important thing is, um, I can ask it any related question. It will try to answer that, synthesize it in a nice way, and give me an answer. Another important thing is, for example, if I ask it a very different question, what is the population of Germany, right? Because it is a large language model, um, I can ask it any question, right? But if I ask this question, it will say the provided sources do not contain information about the population of Germany, right? Again, I will start another thing. I will write another question. Can I use the models here to calculate the population of Germany? Okay, because these are crystal plasticity models, they're used to calculate the plastic deformation in the materials. So it will say you cannot use the models to describe previous sources to calculate population of Germany. The sources focus on crystal plasticity models, and it will continue to say what basically can you do with these models instead. Right? So the idea here is that you will have your library, you will have your set of documents, and this will be your domain you will be chatting with, you will be extracting your results from, you will be talking to, and you will have a very nice connection between what are the sources, where it is taking this information from, and you will be able to synthesize your outcomes in a much better, efficient, and faster way related to whatever query you wanted to run in the beginning, right? So if you have a list of 50 documents and you want to, for example, today read them to find out which models are available, you can use this. In the future, you want to say which materials did people work on, you can use it to find answer to that. In the future, maybe you want to use that to find out, what were the techniques they used for parameter calibration, you can use this tool and so on, right? So there is a library, there is a and you can always chat with that. They have a very interesting tool here. For example, you will see you can add notes, you can create a study guide, so it will try to ask you questions, and then you will answer them and try help you prepare for it. There is also something very interesting. What it does is, for example, it looks at all these documents, and then it tries to create a deep dive conversation about it. So maybe if you're new to a topic, you want to learn about this, what you can do is you can upload your documents, you can click on this. It will take some time. It will take some time, but it will try to create a podcast kind of audio file which you can listen to here, or you can download and you can move to any of your devices, and you can listen to this to understand what the holistic image of the topic that you are working on. We will come back and look at this fun use case of this tool. But in the meantime, while it is working, because it can take some time, we will go to the last tool that I want to talk about today, which is Genie AI, right? At some point in time, when you're doing your literature review, or when you are looking at a blank screen and you have to write, um, you will want to write down your thoughts. You will want to put them on a piece of paper, and you will want to share them with others, right? You are doing literature review. Um, More than 50% of the time, we are doing literature review because we want to share it with someone as well. We want to write it in a research paper. We want to write in our thesis. We want to write in the beginning of a project proposal or so on. So once you have synthesized your thoughts, once, for example, using all these previous tools, you have searched for your articles, you have connected them, you have collected them, you have chatted with them, you have created your understanding about them, you will want to write about them, right? So Genie AI is a very nice tool to, for example, do this. And I want to just give you a short demo of how you can do that. So I will click on new and I will say I want to create a new document, and it will say, what are you writing today? And I will again paste the same thing that I pasted here. Right? So it will again say, oh, Jenny will refer this when generating text. It asks me, do you want to create some outlines? Do you not want to create some outlines? I will say, yeah, create some creative headings, and I will click on start. And then what it will do is, looking at my prompt, what do I want to write about today? It will say, it will automatically set up the title, it will automatically set up the subheadings. So it automatically said recent advancements in crystal plasticity models for multi-phase metallic materials. It has already created these headings, so introduction, crystal plasticity modeling approaches, advancements in crystal plasticity modeling, and so on. And then, for example, open source tools, conclusions, because that was my query about, right? So in introduction, it has already proposed something. So it knows under introduction, I will be writing introduction. It has already proposed a nice sentence. So crystal plasticity models have emerged as powerful tools for simulating micromechanical behavior. So trying to create fluff. I do not want to use this, right? So what I want to do is I want to be more specific. So I will now start typing modeling multi-phase materials for targeted applications is a challenge, especially when industries are looking for carbon neutral and energy efficient solutions that use least alloying elements. Right? So this is what I will do, for example, in LaTeX or for example in Word. And once I have written this sentence, what it will do is it will propose a follow-up sentence. So for example, plasticity models have emerged as powerful tool for simulating micromechanical behavior, right? Again, it is still trying to fluff it. I will say, oh, okay, I accept this sentence, right? And then once I have accepted this sentence, it will read the whole text above, and it will then propose, oh, these models are especially relevant in context of multi-phase metallic materials, where interaction between different phases and significant influences overall the metallic response. I say I accept this sentence. It will continue to do that, but instead of following this, I say I want to start writing this. When I will click here, it would automatically propose something. The idea or the concept behind this kind of tool is that it helps you with the brainstorming process. You are not starting from a very blank page. It helps you structure your report with some headings. It helps you, for example, if you are thinking, it helps you show a sentence and maybe this is what you want to write. You can select it, you can delete it, change it. For example, I say material response, but they are very slow, right? So I can write more, and then, for example, if I click after full stop, it will then propose another sentence, right? And it knows I am writing introduction, so it will stay in the introduction zone. If I, for example, click here, incorporation of microstructural features, now it will know, oh, I am looking at this. So then it will propose something related to microstructural features and how they influence the crystal plasticity models and so on and so forth. So basically, I can use this to help me write. And if, for example, I have my own references, I want to include them, what I do is I click here, I say cite, right? And then, for example, I can add a citation. I can it will automatically search for citations related to this sentence, or I can add a custom citation, and then, for example, I will have to give it a DOI number. I will search it and then exactly insert that here, and it will know, oh, this sentence was taken from this article, so maybe this author is looking into these kind of articles, and then it will try to rearrange and or reorganize itself. So Gen AI basically helps you synthesize your thoughts more efficiently, effectively, help you get over this writer's block and move faster in your writing and helping. So while I hope this was interesting and useful, while this was happening, what I want to do is I want to go back and see that we have a very nice audio already ready for to hear. Huh? So I will. Oh, I am listening it here. I want to shift to this. The general audience. Yes, absolutely. And this is also true, for example, if you are in metal form, for example, if I start with a completely different material or I start with a completely so conform process, right? And I am new to this, I don't know what was the past, what it is about, and then this is especially a wonderful tool if you want to prepare a pitch for, or you want to know how to make this easy to understand. So what they've created this tool is basically synthesize something much nicer for a general audience from this. They will start from here. So we will go into who cares about crystals and so on. And then if you will listen to this around 10 12 minutes, they will go very critical into, for example, what others have done. They will take the names, they will say what they did, what were the advancements, what could come out, and then in the end they will talk about the futures and what could it lead to and so on. So they will actually give you some depth as well. They will start from a very shallow ground, they will try to catch the maximum audience, and then it is very nicely designed tool, right? And but yeah, for example, I can download this, I can share this, and then there you go, right? So the idea, for example, with Notebook LM is that it helps. So they have created this tool for students to um, learn better, and therefore you will see study guide, briefing document, frequently asked questions, audio overviews. But for example, we as researchers can also use it to chat with very technical, tricky documents, and we can get specific information from them when we want to, right? Um, so once we have written everything down, GenAI can help you write. But for example, you can use any tool, however you like, to then synthesize your thoughts, and that is basically um, how that is basically my opinion on the detective mindset. So instead of starting from a very general query, trying to navigate your way on your own, trying to focus energy on many several things, and then in the end reach somewhere, if you are starting in an area or a field, or if you want to run a specific query, this kind of workflow can help you reach your targeted results within um, minutes, and if you want to go much deeper, within hours. And it will not take days or weeks or months to reach the exact position that you want to, right? And this is basically the idea behind detective mindset, that you can um, do this. Hmm? Yes, absolutely. A very good question. So, what I always suggest is these tools are there to help you with brainstorming, for finding literature, for synthesizing your thoughts. But in the end, it is, and also an important thing here that is an underlying tone is you are always in control. So what kind of query you are running, it gives you synthesized thoughts, but you can read through it, you can identify your articles, you can download whatever you want to. There are other tools, for example, Semantic Scholar, there are other tools, Semantic Search or Semantic Scholar, there are other tools that can help you with understanding how accurate or good this article is. Um, and then you are in control. So what are you writing in your prompt, what are you searching, what documents you're downloading, what you're trying to find, how you're reading them, and in the end synthesizing your thoughts. I never recommend just copying and pasting this, and therefore we are ending at Genie AI, that it will help you write faster, but here again you are in control, so you can type whatever you want, you can change whatever you need. It is not ChatGPT or Claude or whatever that it will generate a report. You can only copy and paste. You cannot modify or edit it, and later you will have to work on a lot on it, right? So again, with for example Notebook LM, you are in control of which documents you are uploading there, and then based on them you will get your response information and so on. So what I always recommend is use these tools for narrowing down your search faster, focusing on the targeted research paper faster, linking them, connecting them in a nice map faster, so you see a holistic picture. Then you can download their abstracts or download their PDFs, use Notebook LM to chat with them, find out relevant information. Maybe you go back to SciSpace to read more about a certain equation or a model or a figure or so on. And in the end, you synthesize your own thoughts. So nowhere in this workflow that I have discussed, I encourage you to just copy and paste, and I have nowhere shown a prompt to somehow convert this generative AI text into human readable thing and deceive people. Yeah, and I think this is super important to stay in control, because then you know what went in, what did I ask, what did I see, what did I read, and then what am I getting out in the end. So you stay in control, you are manager of everything. But all these tools, so this kind of workflow, knowing them just helps you do the same thing efficiently and quickly. Any other questions? We also do not, with this kind of workflow, this question of who does this data belong to is also elevated, because everything that we used here is just a smarter Google Scholar with more options, with chain of thought processes. So basically, you're just narrowing down your search a little bit faster. You are finding out the related articles a little bit faster. You're able to read them efficiently and quickly, and you're able to find the relevant information from them faster. That's all this kind of workflow is doing, but it is not subtracting human being from the whole workflow, and you always stay in control. So in the end, whatever you will write here belongs to, or the thoughts you have synthesized or the ideas you have narrowed down belongs. They all belong to you, and you are in control of that. Yeah. There is always this question of, okay, so how many tools should we then buy? Because every tool that we have talked about has a pro version, has a paid version. I tried to show you this workflow with, except litmaps, but there are open source versions. So Research Rabbit, for example, is completely open source, is also does the exact same job, um, is completely free. So all these tools, if you are working on a certain topic, for example, within one day you have a lot of tools that if you go through the free versions of them, you are fine and okay. You do not need to get paid versions of anything to also go through this workflow and synthesize your thoughts and find out everything and so on. Yeah. So I also do not have any of the paid versions from these tools. So that's basically my idea behind this.